black masculinity is a problem term for me. It's a problem of wording because it, first of all, tries to delineate black as specific and masculinity as specific, putting them in these little comfortable boxes that make it feel safe, ascertainable, understandable, easy to digest. But I know that masculinity shows up in all kind of different ways. I am a man because I am a man. You know what I'm saying? I don't have to do all of these things to make myself appear to be the perfect kind of idealized version of a man that you think I'm supposed to be. And black people, us, we got style and flavor and choice. We can do anything in the world. Why would we limit ourselves? You know, and so the choices that I'm choosing are things that I feel like, you know, can hopefully spark a conversation in the arc and the character that makes sense. Oftentimes when I'm presented with the opportunity to play somebody that's gonna move things forward, I'm gonna take that opportunity. But really, I'm just here to be an actor. I just like to interpret characters. I just like to have fun. So if it's something that I feel like is someone's imagination that's boring to me or inaccurate or something that doesn't resonate with me, then I don't wanna do that.
Hey guys, welcome to BET Talks. My name is Unique, and today's guests are both multi-hyphenated talent, and they're here to talk about their latest movie, The Book of Clarence. So I'd like to welcome both Teyana Taylor and LaKeith Stanfield. How are you guys?
Hi, I like your name. It's unique.
Thank you. I've been hearing that my entire life, but it's
You didn't get that one yet.
My mama knew what she was doing. This movie is, no pun intended, a very unique movie. Not only because it's a movie that places us in the time we were in, but we haven't seen ourselves in the space, but because of the story it's telling. It's telling the everyday story of this man who wants more for his life and the extremes he goes through that and the faith walk that he takes with that. And what I love about this movie, like as I was like deep diving, like both you guys had took enough faith walk to get to where you're here today. So like, can you just speak on like bringing that forth within this movie, like your personal experiences?
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the reasons I was attracted to the script was I worked with James before on The Harder They Fall, which was, you know, amazing. I love his spirit, energy. He just like, you know, mobilizes everybody and creates an environment on set that feels musical and that everyone feels like we're in communion and that we're all headed toward a central goal. With this script, that goal was going on a journey with a guy named Clarence, who was a person who probably lived down the street from Jesus or lived in the area and saw the things that he was doing and wanted himself to feel like he had that kind of power, that kind of influence. And so he did whatever he felt was necessary to try to get to that place, and ultimately would learn and go through this journey of redemption and come out the other end of it feeling like a better, more realized person. And I thought that was an important story for me, but for everybody to be a part of. And so I was like, you know, I really want to be a part of it because it mirrors my story, you know, coming from nothing, getting something, and doing whatever you can to hustle and get to the point where you can establish yourself as somebody in your own mind. And then hopefully everybody else would resonate with that idea too. So I thought it was just a great opportunity to connect with that journey and hopefully be able to communicate that to others.
The people that were around him often spoke about how Clarence didn't know his power, he didn't see his power, and like, but everyone around him did. And like, can you just speak to like why you felt like this character did not see the power within himself that everyone around him saw?
Well, you know, it's perception and perspective. And perception is how you see things. Perspective is how much of things you see. And I think he doesn't really have perspective at the beginning of the movie. So he doesn't see himself outside himself. All he sees is me, my wants, what I need, what I want to achieve, my ambitions, get my mom out the hood, put her into a better place. All he can see is right what's in front of him. Through time, his perspective shifts, it expands, to where he can see, oh, someone else might need something. Someone else might benefit from me doing this. He puts others before himself eventually. And then only then does he learn, you know, from being humbled through a really hard experience that like all the time he should have been focusing on his family, focusing on what other people needed, putting others' needs before his own in order for him to find true contentment. And you find that, you know, you get all the money in the world, all the things in the world, you hog it to yourself, it don't mean nothing. It only means something if you could share it with people that you love and be able to engage in honesty and communion with them, you know.
And we get a reintroduction of Mary Maglein's character, which you play. Can you just speak on like playing that part, because that part was very believable on screen.
Yeah, it was a deep dive, you know, and it felt good to see a black man protecting a black woman, you know, despite all of the things that we've seen about Mary, or, you know, or we've heard about her. You know, at that point, nothing really mattered in his eyes. All he seen was for him to be there to protect her, and I think that was a very important piece that is also very relevant toward the things that are happening today between, you know, black women and black men.
So what's one of the main things you want people to take away from this? Because, like, this movie has a plethora of messages that a lot of people can take away.
A lot.
So, like, what's the main thing you guys want audience to, like, go see and hopefully take from it?
Well, I hope they walk away and start their own faith walk. So it's not even about what they should take away from it, but what they should start their walk with after coming from, you know, seeing this movie. James hit on so many relevant topics. We just happened to put it within the time frame that it's in the movie, but he hit on so many things that are so relevant today. And, you know, just from seeing us all come together and understand our power is this, you know, and how much power we have when we stick together. You feel what I'm saying? And he hits on that as well. It's really hard to kind of say without giving up the movie, so I just really hope people just give it a chance and watch it. And, you know, even just playing Mary, like, I've always had a relationship with God, but, you know, doing this movie and filming this movie has actually brought me way closer to God and has brought me way closer to my Bible, you know, so I know what it's done for me. I can only imagine what it'll do, you know, for others.
Yeah, you know, naturally with a movie like this, I think you expect to see some speculation as to, you know, what we're up to here. Like, what are we trying to do? What are we trying to say? And I think it has inspired a lot of conversation, which I think is really good. Yeah. A lot of times our own, like, roadblocks, our own preconceived notions, our own thoughts about things prevent us from seeing what things have to offer. And I would just suggest that people approach this movie in an open-minded way, because it is absolutely not what you think it is. You get a little bit of a snapshot. The trailers don't even really do it justice to what it really is. It's multi-layered. There's a lot of things going on here, and it's not a story. If you're a person of faith, you actually gonna really enjoy this film. It's not something that you're gonna walk away with feeling like, oh, I shouldn't have watched that. That wasn't a good thing.
Right.
Actually, everyone that I've spoken to who's walked out of this movie has felt truly inspired after having walked out of it. And that's people who believe, people who don't believe.
Exactly.
This movie's kind of for everyone, and really isn't even centered on Jesus and the story of Jesus and the focus of the religion. It's actually centered around a character who's doing his own thing, a character like you, like me, like everybody, who has to find his faith, has to find his strength, has to find his knowledge.
And really is just spreading the word.
Yeah.
Like, through trying to make Clarence believe, is everybody like slapping it on him? You gonna hear this out, because how you move in this boom, 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 and boom. So it's like we're also learning too, you know. And like he said, it's gonna create great dialogue, and it's absolutely not what you think it is. It's just one of those, like, even if I wasn't in it, I would feel the same way. Like, just please watch it. Like, it's really, really great.
And it's like action-packed.
Yeah.
There's like fight sequences, dance sequences. It's fun. It's funny. It is funny, but there's these deep, poignant, like, hard-hitting moments that are also really, like, sobering. And, you know, the movie takes a huge arc into unexpected places. And there are things that you see in this you ain't never seen in a film ever before. It's the first time. And in our skin in this time,
felt good.
You know, it's a beautiful thing. You know, we walked on set, everybody was black, they had animals and things, all that. We was all in the robes, and, you know, we felt like finally we're being seen in the time that we know we was there, but we don't ever really see it represented. Now the representation is here, and I'm just so happy to be a part of it. And we really made this to share. So we want everybody to support, you know, go out there, support it.
I will say this movie definitely does what movies are supposed to do. It's supposed to, like, expand your mind and to make you think outside the box and just to, like, step out of your comfort zone. And it definitely does that. It's a different type of biblical movie. It does have its serious moments, but it's, like, also lighthearted. I'm not gonna lie, when we got to the third act, I had trauma because it took me back to Passion of the Christ, which I don't like. But still, it's
definitely hard to watch. It was hard to watch.
It's definitely hard to watch, because I remember I was reading a review and someone made me like think about the crucifixion the way I never thought about it before. They called it like the crucifixion was basically a lynching of Jesus Christ. So like, what was your thoughts on like that interpretation of what happened?
You know, there are some parallels there with the violence, you know, but I kind of look at the crucifixion as a strong metaphor for those who tell the truth. And it exists as something that is in the, you know, if you're the type of person to speak the truth, you can expect hordes of people to try to silence you. You can expect people to try to kill you. We know a lot of people who have been killed, hurt, because of the truth that they speak. And I think that's what the crucifixion is metaphorical for, also for the sun passing through the equinox. You know, there's a lot of different, you know, metaphors there. But for me, in the film, I thought about all my ancestors who had suffered and who had gone through things in order for me to be able to be here to speak truth to power in this moment. So for me, it felt empowering, although it was harrowing at the same time. Sometimes when you go through like hard things, you come out the other side of it, knowing that you survived it, and you become a better, stronger, more robust person. And I think that's all of Black people's story. No matter what they try to put us through, we still here.
Exactly.
You know?
I had a quick question for you, LaKeith, because I know like when it comes to being, how they depict Black masculinity within Hollywood is like a monolithic version, and like the characters you choose are completely outside of what Hollywood uses of that. Can you just speak on the importance of why you choose the characters you choose?
Yeah, you know, I think, you know, Black masculinity is a problem term for me. It's a problem of wording, because it, first of all, tries to delineate Black as specific and masculinity as specific, putting them in these little comfortable boxes that make it feel safe, ascertainable, understandable, easy to digest. But I know that masculinity shows up in all kind of different ways. I am a man because I am a man. You know what I'm saying? I don't have to do all of these things to make myself appear to be the perfect kind of idealized version of a man that you think I'm supposed to be. And Black people, us, we got style and flavor and choice. We could do anything in the world. Why would we limit ourselves? You know, and so the choices that I'm choosing are things that I feel like, you know, can hopefully spark a conversation in the arc and the character that makes sense. Oftentimes when I'm presented with the opportunity to play somebody that's gonna move things forward, I'm gonna take that opportunity. But really, I'm just here to be an actor. I just like to interpret characters. I just like to have fun. So if it's something that I feel like is someone's imagination that's boring to me or inaccurate or something that doesn't resonate with me, then I don't want to do that. But if it's something that I feel inspired by or something I feel could inspire conversation, that's what I want to do. Or it might just be something that I find fun. Maybe I want to be in an action movie and I just want to fight. You know what I mean? So you know, it's all kinds of roles. But you know, if I'm lucky, I get to be a part of a role that is action-packed, that is funny, that is properly dramatic, and that moves a conversation forward. That's what this role is. So it was actually a dream role.
Yeah, I don't know how you're gonna top this one. You really, really did your big one.
Yeah.
Yeah, he played multiple characters as well. And none of us had to get on that cross. You know, like that is beyond acting. It is beyond just it being a role. You know, this thing is close to the real thing. Like you have to find those layers. You have to find that place to shed those tears and to find that pain. Like that is a lot. So he's so shy, but it's just like, I just love giving him his flowers for this role because I got to be there and see it with my own eyes, but also watching it for the first time at the premiere was the hardest thing to watch, because now I'm not only having to like revisit what happened to my Lord, you know what I'm saying, and having to see this, but also seeing my brother, you know what I'm saying, like be on that cross and these things. It doesn't matter how fake the blood is, it doesn't matter. He played a part so well. It looked real enough for me. And it is the hardest thing that I've had to watch. You know what I'm saying? And I just want to give him his flowers for even like getting through that and giving us such a beautiful performance.
Because honestly, no one else could have played that role.
Yeah.
Because like after I watched it, I was like, yo, no one else could have played this. Like, you killed that.
Thank you so much. And I get the flowers right back. You already know how G you are. Enough about me.
I know, because Teyana, we gotta get your flowers too.
God.
You're definitely entering into this new space, and like you're killing it.
Thank you.
You definitely are, and it's just so amazing to see you shine in a space after like you know, just the turmoil of trying to like, you know. So like, what does that feel like to be like not only seen, but to actually be able to stand and show the world
be able
that you
to exhale.
Yes.
To be able to exhale is amazing. To have confirmation that you know, your prayers have been answered is at the highest level. You know what I'm saying? To really look up and be like, all right, you did that. We did that. You feel what I'm saying? Like, I prayed that. You answered that. You delivered that. You feel what I'm saying? Like, that is the best feeling in the world, and there's nothing really much too more to say. You know, I give thanks to my God every day in Jesus' name. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, it's amazing. And, you know, we spoke about time earlier, and it's just like, you know, so much more time ahead of us. Like, even though time is not our friend, we still have so much ahead of us, you know? But before trying to run and catch up to that time, I just take my time and enjoy the moment, enjoy the minute, enjoy the second, enjoy the beat.
And the work you're doing now allows so many others to also enjoy their moments.
Yes.
Yeah.
You are creative director, Spike T. And Spike T.
Thank you, girl.
Like, what did you take away from watching James, like, in this element as Spike T?
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing. I think the director in me, I'm always ready to learn. I'm in the business. I am nosy. I'm watching everything. I'm watching them even scrub down the cups that we put our fingerprints on. I'm watching everything, and I have a whole different like appreciation for just behind the lens. You know what I'm saying? Like the three of us sitting here right now, this is all great for the viewers, but without the village behind all these cameras, we would not be here. You know what I'm saying? And that's a part of what made me want to become a director, because as an actress, I would see how certain people would get treated on set. And I didn't like it. This was my earlier days. I didn't really like it. And my goal was to make sure that everybody felt happy, everybody felt seen, because I know what it felt like to not be seen, to not be heard by millions of people in the world. You have the world in your business. Your whole life is in front of the world, and you still not feel seen or heard. So imagine the ones who are not an influence, or, you know what I'm saying, have fans or whatever you want to call it, or a major support system, you know what I'm saying? So I also want to just spread flowers to the whole village.
Yes.
Just by doing that, like, you're also shining by putting the spotlight on other people.
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
y'all both deserve flowers for everything
Thank
that you
you.
guys are doing. I also want to speak on, like, there's this thing that Clarence always says, knowledge over belief. I think it is. I'm paraphrasing.
Knowledge is stronger than belief.
Like, there we go. Knowledge is stronger than belief. Can you speak on, like, the context of why that's important? Because I understood why he was saying that. Like, as a person that has just been through so much, like, for me to believe that it's possible, I have to see it. So, like, can you just speak on, like, why that was just, for this time, just unheard of?
Yeah, I think it's interesting wording, because knowledge being stronger than belief doesn't necessarily mean that knowledge is better than belief. It just means that knowledge gives you the foundation to move in confidence. And, you know, I think we all experience fear, we all experience insecurity, and what makes one courageous versus the other is that in spite of that fear, you move with a knowing, you move with a trust. And the knowing and the trust is that I'm going to do what I'm going to do. And I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm going to do it. And I think that, you know, the message that we're trying to get across with knowledge being stronger than belief is that when you're coming from a place of knowing, you're unstoppable, because that's how you manifest things. It starts as an idea, a dream, it becomes concrete in third dimension. If you know it and you act on it, the works. You know, faith ain't nothing without the works. It's very true. You know, just as Teyana was talking about earlier, the things that she's been able to achieve, the work that goes into that. Y'all see the end result, but y'all don't necessarily see everything that goes into that. And there's a lot of painstaking work to get to the point where now we can exhale. And I think that's really important. And that's what that statement, knowledge is stronger than belief, is reinforcing. That now that I know, I can actually move. I'm not questioning whether or not I can do this. I'm moving regardless. And I think that's an important message there.
So, because I know you shared, like, how therapy helps you disassociate from characters. So as you're moving into this space, like, what are tools that you're using to help you disassociate from characters you're playing that are so deep to the core?
It's crazy because actually being on set is therapeutic for me. You know, since 2001, I did Book of Clarence, and at the time in my life, I needed these moments to actually not have to be the strong black woman. It felt good to take off my cape and be weak and it be used for the better. You know what I'm saying? Versus you being judged or, why is this? So to be able to go on set and scream and cry and just let it all out. And once again, exhale and that be okay. Has been very, very therapeutic for me. So I haven't really taken the stab at how I could come from one character, because I've gotten 2 back-to-back roles that have been very, very relevant and very, very close to, what I deal with as a woman. You know what I'm saying? So for me, the roles in hearing action was the therapy for me.
And I feel like with more of these roles, like, they're supposed to help humanize what, the vast majority of people dehumanize when it comes to people of color. How long do you think it'll take for people to, like, humanize?
What I always say is, the weight is not punishment, it's preparation. So I think that, we just gotta be patient and we gotta just, like, let it flow. Like I said, we can't think about the time ahead of us. We could really just stay where we are and just let it happen. Even the faith walk, like, God never said it was just going to be like a smooth path. You're going to have some nails in the tire. You're going, run into a few deers that's caught in the head. Like, you're going to run into all that. You know what I'm saying? But the thing is just to keep going and handle what's happening right here and right now versus trying to go back to your past or trying to think about what's ahead of you, because tomorrow's not promised. So we living in, next week, because I'm about to da-da-da-da. So, I'm only thinking about next week, and then you die tomorrow. Then you're in that casket like, damn, I never made it to the next week. You feel what I'm saying? I ain't gonna make it to the next week. So I'd say live in the now, and right now we just have to be patient and, see what happens.
And remember, there are no oppressors, just weak men.
That's facts.
That was a drop the mic.
Yeah, that definitely was a drop the mic moment.
Even the way he paused, he was ready.
I was cooking that one. Thank you for allowing me to tell.
Let's talk about the dance sequence, because I read that was like the most nerve-wracking part for you to film. The choreography.
Yeah.
You usually in your own world.
So dirty. The morning of the scene where we're shooting, they're like, oh yeah, there's a bunch of dance moves and here you go, you gotta learn all these moves. I'm like, come on, man, I ain't got no time to rehearse. I gotta get up here. I'm never nervous until that day. I got on set like, oh my God, I don't know what the moves are, what I need to do. So I just start going with the flow, get the snapping and see what happens. But it was really fun. It was a community, and like everybody else had so much time to remember their steps, and so they was all in lockstep. So I just had to kind of fall in and jump in and get in where I fit in. And so it was nerve-wracking, but it was fun when I finally got it after a while. And it just felt like this big, beautiful black party in 33 AD that just felt like a dream. Like I was zapped into it. Lights Over Egypt is playing, and there's beautiful gold, and like it was just like straight out the mind of James Samuel right into the set. And it just felt like amazing and surreal, and still when I see that scene, I think about that environment that we were in, all in together in community. Nobody thinking about like, oh, I don't like this person because of this, I don't like this, I don't like that. We were all in unity and all together, and this is the dream I've always had for all of us, and so it just felt like, boom, it had finally been manifest here. It was a beautiful scene.
And I ain't going front, I went to the group chat, I was like, yo, this is my next party theme right here. Yeah, look at this. I was like, this is the next theme for the party. I love a theme. So I'm like, yeah, this is next. Like that's how, it felt the exact way he's saying it felt.
Cause it's amazing, cause like even after that, it transitions to you seeing like nothing but the community be there for this character Clarence. Like people you thought like wouldn't stand up for him, were standing up for him and trying to help him bear his cross. But he was just like, no, this is something that I know how to do for myself.
Absolutely.
And I'm not gonna lie, like when he found his faith though, I kinda thought like, yo, it's a fucked up way to find your faith.
No, this is a fucked up way of finding out your faith. Crazy.
You find out things and sometimes the hard way, when you're
hard
hard-headed,
way,
sometimes you
gotta
gotta
find out
hit things
the
the
hard
hard way.
way.
And those lessons be hard, but you survive and you're able, by God's grace, to learn the lessons and continue to push forward. And if you're given that opportunity, you gotta take that opportunity to try to do and be better. And so that's what I took from Clarence. It was like, it was a hard hit, but he was going hard. You know, you go hard in a certain direction, and bam, sometimes
And you went
it
out like
take
a
that.
champ. You know,
Yeah.
they still offered you the bread to give up.
Yeah.
And you
Jesus,
just
and you
like, wow.
didn't do that. You know what I'm saying? And you still
Yeah.
got up on that cross, and you know it was painful for you, but you made sure everybody else knew it's gonna be okay. You know, and I think that that's what it's all about, because instead of your name being carved as a non-believer, you went down in history. You went out with a bang.
Yeah, Clarence made the right decision when it counted.
Yeah.
And that's what's
Exactly.
important. You can make a whole bunch of mistakes in your life, as we
Exactly.
all do, but when it comes to that crossroad to make the right choice, he decided in that moment, I'm gonna do the right thing, and that made all the difference.
And then like the final line, like he tells his brother, he was like, I know. Like I don't have faith. I
That's my
know.
favorite
Absolutely.
scene. Yeah.
And also like, cause like the first time I saw like you playing the two parts, I was like, wait, like what was that like for you?
Yeah, it was fun, you know. I was like, you know, it was a lot of work. There were days when I thought I was off, you know, because I'm looking at the Clarence work days, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm off tomorrow. Y'all gotta work.
Ah, he
And
looked
then
at that.
James is like, actually, you're playing Thomas tomorrow. I'm like, ah, damn. So I gotta be right back. It was a lot of work, and it was interesting because I would play one side, and then, you know, for a whole day I'd be Clarence, and then for a whole day I'd be Thomas, and then one day I'd come and be Clarence Thomas.
I got you right there. Look
You
at
see,
that.
it's a lot of levels in this movie. Y'all really need to watch this. But, you know, on those days, it was a little bit more tricky. I would have to go in the hair and makeup for Clarence, and then go in the hair and makeup for Thomas, and then memorize the lines. And then I had to, like, time the performance so that way when I acted something as Clarence, I reacted as Thomas in the right moment. So it's like boom, boom. So I was, like, counting as I'm performing to make sure I'm hitting the beat at the same time. So it was a lot of work, but, you know, I was happy to do it because I was like, you know, Eddie Murphy did this for like 5 characters, you know what I'm saying? So if he could do that, I could do 2. So, you know, it was fun.
You guys killed it with the acting. Fingers crossed and manifesting your Oscar nomination. Like
Thank you.
and what's like one word you would use to describe this movie for people?
One word. We hate having to choose one thing.
I know.
Yeah.
I know it's hard.
We hate having to choose just one thing.
It's hard. Just one word that will describe this movie for people.
A blessing.
Mm.
A blessing. A blessing. Because like you said, you're going to have some believers and some non-believers. And what I love about this film is it's not a biased film. It's not you, what you should be doing. You know what I'm saying? Like we have those moments where we see Clarence, we understand why you are the way you are. We hear you, but you get what I'm saying? And that's what I love. It's still grace. It's still compassion. It's still understanding that whatever this man's beliefs are, you know, like he is entitled to his beliefs and his opinions. And that's what I love about it. So I think it's definitely a blessing. It's a blessing.
Yeah, I'd say inspirational. You know, you walk away from the film feeling inspired. You're not gonna walk away from this and not talk about it, you know, amongst your people, amongst your peers. So if inspired to do nothing else, you'll be inspired to engage in conversation. Maybe talk to your family. There are interpersonal relationships between family here, brotherhood, love, you know, strife, hustle, ambition. It's all in this film. Your identity, who you are, power structure, the police, black and white, you know, and caste system, social economics, all of that is in here. And so you'll walk away from that being able to have, hopefully, some fruitful conversation.
Thank you guys so much for your time.
problem. Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much for being here. And be sure to watch Book of Clarence.
January 12th.
January 12th.
It'll probably be in theater by the time this show.
Oh, yeah, bro. Check us out right now. Run over to your theaters, your local theaters, and catch the Book of Clarence. Out now.
Pow!